with a new parliament in place now, we're well ready for the swearing in of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as the next president of Ghana. But just a little question, who is running the country now? Nana Rex Owusu-Ansah is former Clerk of Parliament, also Kontihene of Wenchi, and he joins us to give some explanation to the many questions on our minds in terms of the procedure, what has happened overnight, and what is to happen this morning. Nana, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Is that right?
Say,
good morning.
yes,
Mama
very
V.
good morning. Yes, sir, it's Mama V.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I think that first of all, you probably will have to answer the question that I've asked. Who is running the country? Who is our president?
Well, it is a shared responsibility. The country is not run only by the president. It's run by the president, the parliament, and the other arms of state. So now there's a parliament, because we have had a speaker sworn in and deputy speakers, but we haven't had a president sworn in yet, even though he is yet to begin his tenure as president. So that question must be answered by all of us. What should the Constitution do to take care of this? The country is being run, just that the president has not had the chance to run it effectively now until he swears himself in before the Chief Justice of Ghana. And that will be done today at the Independence Square. Is it Independence Square?
That's correct, yes. But
Square.
it does raise an interesting situation. It's not likely to happen, but what if some country attacks Ghana and we're supposed to mobilize the armed forces, for example? Who would do that?
Well, no country would attack Ghana.
Thank goodness for that, yes.
I mean, and it is the president who declares war. Nobody can declare war on any other country by the president. The president will meet with the cabinet and they will take a decision as to whether they should go to war. We don't have a president, so I don't think anybody can go to look for war anywhere. So that possibility is out, or probability is out. But that is not a likely event. It's not to be expected. But and for a short period of time, from 12 midnight we have had a speaker, and then maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, the same morning, we have a president. What is the big deal there? Yeah, so the Constitution anticipated this. But we have a speaker, and the speaker we don't have a president who is absent for a vacancy to be filled by a speaker. So there is a law there. There's no president. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
I'm not feeling the difference right now. So let's hope nothing happens to cause us to notice. But there's so much we want to learn about what is going on. What started at midnight. One government came to an end. A second one has begun. Of course, a new session of Parliament has begun as well, and will be continuing their work at the Independence Square today when the new president is sworn in. But we noticed a couple of things happening in Parliament yesterday that we're hoping you can help us put into context. For example, before the new speaker was sworn in, the clerk, that's the position which you have held in the past, the clerk was in charge. But is there a limit to the power that the clerk has for that period of time, or is he, for all intents and purposes, the speaker?
Well, the clerk's responsibilities as envisaged under the laws, particularly the Constitution, understand others, the responsibilities are limited. He cannot see himself as a speaker. He has to be described as a chairman for the occasion. And he is not even expected to be chatting or talking or keeping order as a speaker would do of the House, no. So he would humbly go and sit down at, in my view, exactly midnight, 12 o'clock. But I can see that they were late this morning. They came in not even 5 minutes after midnight. They came in, I think, 25 minutes after midnight. and there should be an improvement upon that in future. And when the clerk came and took the chair, his duty was to ask for the nomination of the next speaker from the majority side, and then that was done. And Professor Kwe was nominated, was proposed by, I think, the majority leader now. And that is what the law says they should do. And there's no debate for that. And before you do that, you should have sought the permission of the speaker-elect or the man you intend nominating, whether he would want to accept it or not. But it's all a way of letting you know that some serious talk would have taken place among the politicians, especially the party in power. They would have to agree before a nomination of this nature can be made. And they will just instruct the mover of the motion to say, hey, we agree, nominate this man because the party wants this man to be the next speaker. If there's any disagreement, they will sort themselves out there before they enter Parliament. So what you saw there was a rehearsal of what they would have done in camera elsewhere. So that is exactly what happened. And of course, when the name is made known and a seconder comes in, there would not be any debate following the nomination because the standing orders don't allow for any debate. So you would you see some silence immediately, and there have been no further nominations. The chairman would immediately declare the nominee as the next speaker. You wouldn't expect members to, as it were, say no, because they would have designed the thing, they would have done it in such a way that it would fit into their prior arrangement and things like that. These are all parliamentary, gimmicks, if you like. Yeah.
Now, we noticed at some point that the clerk was being heckled. When he called for order, some of the members of parliament were asking, who are you? Is the clerk not permitted to call for order during that time?
He is permitted to call for order. That is to be expected. Maybe they wanted to test his capacity or capabilities.
Were you tested at some points?
In my case, well, I don't know. There was a bit of unease before the clerk entered. People had sat for too long, and probably they would have thought that the clerk would make some speeches or something, but
apologize, perhaps.
And apologize, if you like. But he's not enjoying to make any statements or even to talk. That could have probably been the reason why people had attempted to heckle. But they would try to test his pulse, if you like, and that is to be expected anyway. And he has to taste the problems associated with power of that nature. The power that he had for 30 minutes needed to be put to test. So, and I'm glad he comported himself and composed himself, conducted the thing so successfully, so nicely. And thereafter, he felt relaxed. Yeah, I heard it myself. Who are you? Who are you? Did you expect him to say, I am the chairman of the occasion? And that is really what happened. And that is the humorous side of parliamentary business anyway.
Now, Professor Michael Kwe was sworn in duly, and he gave a first address, if you will, speech, which was quite remarkable. He mentioned a number of things which, with his experience as a former member of parliament, he considered to be frustrations or difficulties that he was hoping to resolve during his term as speaker. But I'm curious to find out exactly how much power Parliament has to affect some of the things that he was concerned about. For example, he talked about how at the moment there are so many, well, in fact, every bill has to be brought from the executive. And he was interested in the power of Parliament to propose, members of Parliament to propose bills themselves. Is this something that he could, is this a change he could effect?
Yeah, many of them, with the support of Parliament and the executive, of course, all of us, some of them can be controlled, can be really initiated also, and there's not much sanity when it comes to that difficulty constitutionally, that members cannot introduce bills just because the bills they are likely to introduce may have financial implications in the processes and all that. I mean, every bill has financial implications, as the Speaker tried to say. Now, you expect that of a professor, a lecturer, for that matter. He had to tell you...
And a reverend.
And reverend as well. He had to tell you what his policies must be. And he was seeking the cooperation of the House, if they could allow him to make changes or to suggest changes. But this is not unusual. And this is not the first time people have spoken about that. There's a lot of literature about this. And the Constitution Review Committee did that as well. Did make suggestions that these need to be changes, but some are entrenched provisions in the Constitution. So he will make attempts to lay these bare, to talk about these things. But he can succeed in getting some through, especially the low attrition rate of members of Parliament. It's a matter of the government and the political parties trying hard to do some affirmative action towards the women, getting a lot of women to come in, and also making sure that people don't have to be changed after 4 years. Give them some chance, give them some time. But Parliament is not a place where you can stay forever. You go there and you expect to be out after 4 years. Some people don't like to stay for more than 4 years, right? Most of them would want to. But it's not that it is bad to go after 4 years. But it is expected that you know your mandate, the limitations you will have to suffer.
It's interesting you say that, but sometimes we don't get the impression that some of them expect to leave at some point.
Yeah, it's normal, it's natural too. Yes, because of the attractions and, if you like, the things that go with the membership of parliamentarians and all that, they wouldn't like to go. And also, who would want to leave such a place under any pressure, political pressure, partisan pressure, and that sort of stuff? But you have to go fully prepared to serve for 4 years, and you have to go. But if we are lucky and we are able to make the place habitable and interesting, some may want to stay and do the job, but after all, the longer you stay, the more experienced you become. So everybody expects that, but it should not be a rule that you should stay on forever. The longest serving parliamentarian there now is the new deputy speaker from the minority
Second
side.
deputy?
Second, no, first.
Oh, first.
Yeah, yes, man, back then.
Oh, then he's the second deputy.
Yeah, second. Yes, that's what I meant. I beg your pardon. You know, he has suffered a lot from the time he entered Parliament until today. Not many people would want to suffer that way. It is a course. If you charter, you will have to suffer a lot. And how he did it, I don't know. But I'm sure he would want to stay on to become Speaker one day again. But that is if his constituents allow him to stay on. As you said, if the Speaker is allowed to implement some of these policies, why not? The better would be for the Parliament itself. But would he be allowed to do that? Would he have the capacity? The capacity he may, but would he have the money and the wherewithal to do all those things? The government support must be forthcoming. There must be money to support the Parliament itself. You can make the Parliament a paperless Parliament. Now it's full of paper, you know, the modern gadgets and the technology that you find in other places are absent in our Parliament.
I've heard somebody argue that Look at Professor Michael Quay. He's done a lot of things. He's achieved a lot. It's almost like he has nothing to lose. What he needs to do is to leave a legacy, and he seemed to understand that. He could push to make changes so that we can remember him for a very long time to come.
But he will suffer a lot of limitations constitutionally. The Constitution itself has to be changed in many cases, and some of the clauses are entrenched. So they have to address that issue as a parliament. It's sad that we did nothing about the proposals made by the Constitution Review Commission, was it? Yeah, it was bad we didn't do that. So he can address many of these if he makes sure that the Constitution enjoys some changes. Yeah, if he can do that, fine. But he made mention of several other things. And because he has experienced these difficulties in Parliament, and I'm sure like other speakers before him, he would want to also make sure that certain things get associated with his performance or his name. So he may achieve them. He may achieve them.
I'm hoping you can educate us on something I've always wondered about. It's a parliamentary practice that, to my mind and to the minds of many others, I fail to see the advantage. But every single session of Parliament has done this. The voting, there's no anonymous voting. So you go with the ayes and the nays, and so it forces people to vote along with their parties rather than perhaps in the interest of their constituency or their own views and beliefs. Why is it? Is there a reason why voting must always be that way?
No, I mean it is a deficit that we are suffering. If you go to some more advanced parliaments, you find that there's a mechanism that shows how you voted, because the speaker may direct that vote, but and the whips may say vote this way or that way, or it's a free for all exercise. If it's a 3-line whip, for instance, you vote according to what the party wants you to do or say. But in our parliament in particular, it's no, yes, and things like that. I mean, that is quite primitive, So we have to spend money to get all these gadgets installed.
Even if we did, would they not be voting on party lines after all? Yeah.
Well, why not? I mean,
they came to Parliament on the ticket of their parties.
Well, yeah, if the party says so. But if it's free for all, you vote according to what the party says. And there's nothing wrong if you vote according to what the wishes of the party are. After all, you were sent to Parliament on a ticket of your party. But in many cases, you are allowed to vote the way you want. You personally choose, and because you will be held accountable one day for the way you have voted on an issue today. So there should be some mechanism to check these. It's a deficit. It is something that is not the best, but we have had to do that. And several times the voice votes. People shout without necessarily expecting the results to announce the way the speakers announce them. But there's nothing you can do. But if you disagree with any vote, especially the voice vote, you can challenge, and the speaker can put a question again. That's allowed in the standing orders as well. So, the speaker can make changes. I mean, he can suggest changes, and the House can make proposals. What is required of the executive is to provide money. In many cases, some of the executive organs, people, drag their feet because some of the changes will not inure to their benefit. So, like we have seen before, if it doesn't help them, they will not push the money down there. But if Professor Okoye, having experienced these difficulties, pushes hard, and if his party is minded to support him to effect these changes, why not? The Parliament will be the beneficiary, and it will be good for the country also. But a lot of things happen in Parliament that ought not to happen. because in some parliaments, even on the continent of Africa, you see a lot of advancements, having been pushed. Why do we still do some of the things that we do? But it is the constitution of this country that is not allowing for rapid change, if you like. And for the standing orders, they go according to what the constitution says they should go. Yeah. So we have to help. It's not only the speaker who can push, but the executive must be responsive, and people, the general public, must try to push. These questions that you are raising now should have been raised by you earlier, but it looks like a lot of people want Parliament to solve its own problems because the problems are parliamentary. The whole country sits down watching, but the constituents must say, no, go and make changes here. We want you to make changes to reflect modernity, if you like. But in Ghana, you're on your own if you go to Parliament. So I am not surprised, but if the Speaker wants to make changes, he can.
He can. You were in Parliament. You saw the new faces. What do you make? What do you think about what you saw? Their actions?
Well, there were mixed feelings of nostalgia, regrets, and frustration. The same way as you would find in schools. The child coming to school the first time, the first day at school, and even the last day at school. When people are leaving school, sometimes they cry. And when they get to school, also sometimes they cry, and many of them cheer up. So it's the same thing. But you are not supposed to expect that they are all going to behave the same way. Today, you must have seen flashes of cameras, being beamed at people who were expressing happiness and joy, and in some cases, tears run down their cheeks. In some cases, out of frustration and all that. You see people missing their numbers, their seats. Today, I saw, especially in the evening, I saw many members coming in expecting to sit where they used to sit before, only for them to realize that no, they have swapped positions, so they have got to go. It's all interesting, and I wish the cameramen were there to pick some of these, inadvertent happiness, but this is really what it is.
We do have some reactions that Kojo is going to bring to us in a bit.
Yes, indeed.
Reactions of new parliamentarians.
Did you have captured
as they were being sworn in?
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, not just during the swearing in, but after the swearing in, some of our colleagues actually interacted with the brand new MPs who had just been sworn in. Let's find out how that went.
Yeah, were you surprised? Even the Speaker himself.
Constructively criticize them and put them on their toes. And so we hope to see a very exciting, very vibrant Parliament, and we are confident that we'll give it our best.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abujina Paul. Congratulations once again. And we will pick more reactions as we wrap up here and then bring you live commentary from the Independence Square. Doctor, congratulations again for this second, for this 4-year term that you just started.
Thank you.
So what should we expect from you?
It's past 2 a.m. I'm sure we are very tired. But at 8 o'clock, we'll convene here again and continue the program. I think it was a bit longer than some of us anticipated, but nevertheless, it's the first day, so we'll see what happens.
In sum, you ready for the task ahead?
Oh, definitely. As I told you earlier, I think you can see the members are all excited, so I expect a very active Parliament. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable Anthony Akoto is a member of Parliament for Otafo in the Ashanti region. So I'm also joined here by the member of Parliament for Tema East, Titus Glover. Also for Kwame Abu, the member of Parliament for Adeklu in the Buthara region. Let me start from you, Kwame. You are now on the other side, the left side of the Speaker of Parliament. Are you ready to give up your best to ensure that parliamentary democracy is entrenched in this 7th Parliament?
Surely. I think the people of Ghana have brought us to this house to work for Ghana. My view is that irrespective of which government is in power, Ghana must see progress. So we are ready to cooperate and work together with our colleagues in majority now to move this country for where it is now forward. We must see progress at every time that any government is in power. So we can commit, I can tell you, we are committed to working hand in hand with our colleagues from the NPP to make make sure that the right things are done for the people of this country to benefit from our work.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwame Abuja, Member of Parliament for Adeklu. In the booth, I'll pick just one word and then go to the former second Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Titus Glover, you heard your people, your party made promises. Now is the time for results. Are you ready for it?
Yes, indeed, we are ready. That is why Ghanaians voted us into power. And we respectfully believe that we are going to deliver. They need to be patient. We've not come up with our budget yet. So definitely everything that His Excellency the President Nadu have said, he will make sure it is captured in his budget. He's going to guide us because it is this same house that is going to bring his budget to enable us to approve. Then we'll continue to serve the good people of this country.
I wish I'll allow you to go and have some sleep because we're coming back again at 10 a.m.
I'm a young man, so definitely I just have an hour or two nap and come back and continue with the work ahead of us.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.
Let me now turn to the former second Deputy Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Honorable Joe Gatti. Honorable, you heard the Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe, impressed by his delivery and what he intends to do for the next 4 years.
Yes, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Private members, everything he said was spot on.
Yes. In the sixth Parliament that just ended, there were certain things that you wanted to do, but you couldn't materialize. For example, the new standing orders. Are you confident that in this seventh Parliament we will see a more modified standing orders that reflects the Parliament as a whole?
I would say that in the sixth Parliament we did our best. We worked hard, we did our best. And I believe that the seventh Parliament will build on what we've done. I expect to see a new standing orders. I expect, like Professor Michael Kwe said, to see some form of formalization of the rulings of speakers, etc. I expect also to see some approach at addressing the question of the private members' bill. So it's the exciting times ahead for Parliament. The agenda that has been proposed by the Speaker, and of course with support of leadership, because leadership that pushes the agenda. With support of leadership, I think that we are in for exciting times.
And in general terms, the MPP administration, you're confident that what you've told Ghanaians, you'll deliver on them?
More than confident. Much more than confident. I'm excited. We are ready to roll.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's the former second Deputy Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Joe Gatti. Let me go to Dr. Halu, the former Deputy Environment Science Minister, but now in Parliament for the seventh Parliament. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You heard the new Speaker talk about his vision, more if you like, for women.
Yes.
Impressed and satisfied, and you think you'll be able to deliver on them?
Yes, I was so happy that he was able to point out the importance of gender issues. During the sixth Parliament, we couldn't pass the intestate succession bill into act. You know, we've had a lot of amendments to it. We also have the spousal property bill pending. So I'm happy that he is very gender sensitive from what he said, and I hope that during this seventh session we'll be able to pass these bills into act.
So what kind of a ministry, Environment, Science and Technology, what kind of ministry have you left for the incoming administration?
I left the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Now I'm full-time, and I'm also going to learn a lot and contribute even more effectively because I have a lot of time to do so.
Dr. Halu, once again, congratulations. I wish you well in the seventh Parliament. Let me move again and face very, very, very new to me, so maybe you have to introduce yourself to me.
My name is Daniel Ochemabuwaje, Bantima constituency.
Congratulations and welcome to Parliament. Are you ready for the task ahead?
Why not? Yes, we are. Obviously, we wanted to come and help change this country, as new MPs. So we have a lot of tasks ahead of us. From Bantima, there's a lot of things that I have to do. Represent the people, advocate, help make laws. But today the exercise was very interesting because it's the first time for a lot of us. And we're just observing proceedings and beginning to pick up a lot of things that we need to be able to learn from our seniors to be able to contribute to the House. And that's what's actually happened today.
All right,
yes.
So you know that Parliament work is quite different. Are you ready to learn and contribute effectively on the floor?
Everything is learning. We have a professional experience to be able to contribute, but obviously you can't just come in the Parliament and just start contributing. You have to learn the procedures, the standing orders, and the Constitution to be able to make effective contribution, and we are ready for the action.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
And this man is able to deliver thousands of votes for the NDC. Now he's on the minority side, unfortunately. and I'm sure that we're going to witness the fire that you were noted for in the run-up to the 2008 elections.
Yeah, good evening to all your very many viewers and listeners, and we were happy that the inauguration has been done. A very successful election of both the Speaker and the 2 Deputy Speakers, and we are prepared for the event later in the day. The coming in of the President-elect and the Vice, and ready to do the best we can for Ghana.
So what kind of frequency should I expect going forward after today?
The same. Facts, figures, and fire.
All right. So we'll look forward to that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Fifi.
Absolutely.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Kwabena Donko.
On your most credible news source, this is Joy News. It's our special coverage of the inauguration, and in some few hours we'll have our new president sworn in as president duty of the Republic of Ghana. But this coverage of ours, the inauguration ceremony broadcast, is brought to you by Angel Educational Complex, Magdan Shipping Company, your total logistics partner, and Inus Fly Beautiful Protection. Our guest in studio is Nana Rex Owusu-Ansah, who is a former Clerk of Parliament, and also Kontihene of Wenchi. So Elton Broby there speaking to some old parliamentarians who are continuing, by the way, and a few new ones, and the reactions to some of the things that the new speaker has said he would do, by the way. Kojo, we still have some new reactions to take.
We'll take those shortly. But before that, let's go back to one of the things that Professor Michael Quay said and see if we can get a bit more education on it. This idea of private members' bills. Now, it's novel, it's not been done, but from what you've explained, there's no real reason why it shouldn't be done. So help us understand, how will it change the way things are done in Parliament if Prof. Quay is successful in ensuring that private members can bring bills to the floor?
Well, this is not the first time that this issue has been raised. In any case, in the parliamentary history of Ghana, there has been one attempt only. I've forgotten the member of parliament then, who attempted to push a private member's bill, but it died at birth. Ever since that time, nobody has been courageous to do it. Now, it is a constitutional injunction. It is a difficulty imposed on the people of Ghana by the Constitution itself. The Constitution itself says that if a bill is anticipating any financial implications in its operations, then a private member cannot, bring about a private member's bill. It's a culture of Parliament for members of Parliament to initiate bills, to present bills on behalf of their constituents or on their own behalf or on behalf of the corporate world. Here we don't do that. Everything is presented by the government, the executive, and if that happens, everything becomes partisan. No, you should be able to leave some leeway for members of Parliament to introduce bills that will not attract partisanship. The railways, so whatever happens in their constituencies, what a particular interested organization would want to see happen in Ghana and the country and things like that. But the government may not see all these things, so allow individuals that represent the constituents to introduce bills. After all, if they introduce bills for the whole country. But it is not novel, as you put it. No, it is this Parliament that is denying itself the responsibility and the duty to do that, to serve the people of Ghana. So remove the constraints in the Constitution and the standing orders, and you have members coming with bills. And there's no guarantee that a member proposes a bill to be passed by all means. No. But at least it makes them educate themselves, and it makes the people become interested in the activities of the parliament itself. So if the speaker is able to push this, it will benefit Ghana greatly, and it will push us a step forward, because it will make Ghana a civilized nation that has taken parliamentary business serious. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But you see, we're shooting ourselves in the head, if you like, for denying yourself the right to make laws for yourself. You're overloading the executive. People want to do it, let them do it. And let us have activity, serious activity in Parliament itself.
As I understand it, this is something that the Constitutional Review Committee actually addressed, and it was one of the recommendations made.
Yeah.
The white paper that government subsequently issued didn't seem to touch on this.
Yeah.
Does that in any way limit this government's ability or opportunity to do something about it?
Well, the executive then probably didn't think that it will inure to the benefit of government or any executive, and that's why they shied away from it. But it was not the best, because parliaments expect to make laws, and that is the legislative wing of the state of statecraft, the state apparatus itself. So let them make laws. Why do you deny them that right? And who says that the money that they are going to use on these bills belongs only to the executive? The money belongs to all of us. And we want to make use of the money judiciously, and we want to make sure that the whole country benefits. But the executive would want to always do things the way they want. And that should not be allowed. The legislature must step in and say, no, we are the lawmakers. And the money that you are giving us is a demand. And in any case, we are copying blindly what was the British situation at the time. But even the British who introduced this particular obnoxious process now have done away with that. You go to Britain, you go to the House of Commons, private members' bills are so many, coming from the counties, the constituencies, and all that sort of stuff. But here, why? What are you scared of? And the executive may not think the way as the constituents may think. So allow their representatives to propose bills. You're not obliged to pass all bills, especially if they're not going to be beneficial. But
can I just take us back to the new MPs? I'm wondering how quickly can they adapt? How can they get the procedures quickly? And how soon should we expect them to begin to make contributions on the floor of Parliament?
We're not going to have the same advantages. Some are very, very fast learners, as you expect, even in schools. Some are not, some are shy. It will take time for some to get themselves sorted out. They warm themselves up, and some have already started anyway. If you listen to the heckling and all that on the floor of the House today, you know that they're gearing themselves up for action. It will take some time, but it's a learning process. It takes time, but if you want to be very fast, you can be very fast, because the literature is there on the net. You can go to other parliaments using your computers and your whatever to learn what is there, and you can be very fast. All these people who are holding offices now may have gone through the same difficulty or whatever, and they got to where they are because of hard work. So it is expected that some would outclass others, but it is expected that they will know this. And then let's give them 1 year.
So just quickly, who is in Parliament? Who can somebody talk to learn some of these things?
Well, that's what the outgoing speaker or the outgone speaker helped to establish the Parliamentary Institute. That is to provide continuing education, for members of Parliament. So it is expected that experts, modules should be crafted in such a way that there will be experts coming from expert areas to lecture or get parliamentarians to learn very fast. If the literature is available, if the facilities are available, we expect them to know and learn very fast. But if the facilities are not there, and if we being whatever, then naturally we will have problems.
I don't think the facility is functioning now in terms of they're using it to train this batch of new MPs. But quickly, we have to go to the airport.
Indeed, we do. Of course, we're bringing you full coverage of everything that's happening on this rather historic day. We're having the presence of various heads of states from around the world who are attending today's inauguration ceremony, which ought to kick off at Independence Square in a couple of hours' time. But we're not going to let a single head of state slip into this country without telling you about it. Our man at the airport, Ernest Kojo-Menu, is standing by and ready to tell us who has arrived so far and who else we're expecting. Let's go across to the airport at Kotoka. Well, here we have Ernest Kojo-Menu standing by to tell us who is arriving. Ernest, good morning. Who has already made their way into Ghana?
Well, as of now, none of the heads of state expected to be here has arrived yet. Let me say that a plane just touched down. I'm yet to confirm which country that is or which of the heads of states just arrived. But we're expecting today to have Côte d'Ivoire, the president of Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivorian president, Alhassane Ouattara. He's expected to be here at about 7:30. And so I suspect that that is the plane that is carrying the president. But also the president of Togo is expected to be here. His protocol team are already here at the in Ghana, and I'm told it's just about 25 minutes flight. They are neighbors, so that is understandable. And so you can hear and see in your shot there the plane touching down. We do not know yet which country that is, but of course the Ghana Air Force is also on standby. They are ready to mount a parade to welcome the heads of state as we had yesterday. You can also see your shots there, the days where the president would, mount and also receive the salute. As it happened yesterday, they would, mount the days, receive the salutes, the anthems will be played, they would inspect the guard of honor, and then they would proceed into the Jubilee Lounge here at the Kotoka International Airport, after which they will be welcomed by a representative by the incumbent government. I already have news that Kwame Batel's former minister is already here, but I'm told specifically he will be in charge of the president of the Republic of Togo. I don't know if he'll be doing same for that of Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, who is also expected to be here this morning. The other side, there's delegation from the British Parliament, as well as from Japan, from the United States, and a host of others, Kojo. The dance ensemble, the Ghana Dance Ensemble, they're just setting up. Usually what they'll do is to display briefly, and you'd have the heads of state, wave at them, stand just to observe briefly before they move into the Jubilee Lounge. And so really, that is what we have to expect today. But one thing also is that usually when they go into the Jubilee Lounge, there is some form of brief conversation just to welcome them. This time it is going to be very short because we know that the inauguration will be underway in a few hours. And so that is really what to expect today, Kojo. The Air Force is on standby, Ghana Dance Ensemble. They will do as they did yesterday. And then from here, we'll proceed to the Black Star Square where the inauguration proper will be taking place.
Thank you, Ernest. Now, yesterday, a few of them arrived and are already situated here. Can you give us a list of those who are here already?
Okay, so yesterday as at 8 p.m., we had 10 heads of state arriving. It started with Algeria. No, there was Egypt. Then there was the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Then there was Algeria. Of course, Zambia was in. Then there was Liberia. Liberia was the Salif Johnson, Her Excellency, was the last head of state to touch down yesterday. We also received the head of states for about 10 of them, as I mentioned earlier, Kojo, 10 heads of state here. We're expecting, however, 15 of them from the interaction we had yesterday with the former Minister for Foreign Affairs, Hackman Oswajiman, and the Minister-designate for National Security, Albert Kandapa. We do know that 15 heads of state have honored the invitation of the President-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and of course the Republic of Ghana, to be present and to grace the inauguration of President-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, which will be underway in a few hours. So we're expecting 15 of them. 10 of them arrived yesterday, and so 5 of them, heads of state, will be here today. However, there's delegation from all across the world, all across the globe, and we're expecting to receive them here as well.
Quite interestingly, one of the invited guests is the Ugandan opposition leader, Kizza Besigye. Have you been able to pick up any of the explanations for why it's the opposition leader that was invited from Uganda?
Could you, if you come again, please?
The Ugandan opposition leader is one of the invited guests, Kizza Besigye. I'm just wondering whether or not you've been able to pick up the reason why it's the opposition leader who was invited from Uganda rather than the president.
Well, Kojo, I'm unable to tell you why, but I do know that you know, delegation, people aside those in government in other countries. For instance, with Kenya, we have the former Prime Minister. He also has been invited to be here. I know there are other people from the West African sub-region and from Africa, and in fact all across the world, who are not necessarily in government but have been invited. And so I cannot exactly tell you why the opposition leader for Uganda has been invited, but I do know that, you know, prominent people, people who used to be in government, diplomats all across the country are being invited. That is the explanation I can offer, Kojo.
Well, thank you very much, Kojo, and of course we'll keep coming back to you as and when the heads of state start to arrive today. We appreciate your time. Now, yesterday, about 10 heads of state arrived for today's historic ceremony. Let's catch up very quickly with the moments when they touched down here in Ghana. Here are some images of visiting heads of state, some from North Africa. Of course, we know that we have already had the president of Egypt and I believe Algeria touch down.
Algeria and Gambia.
And of course, we're looking forward to more. Gambia,
Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone,
Sierra Leone. They all arrived yesterday,
yeah,
did they?
Ethiopia. And then late evening, Liberia.
Wonderful. It's turning out to be quite a party. And in fact, speaking of parties, there will be a big dinner at the Flagstaff House, or Jubilee House, as we've heard it referred to.
Is it officially been referred to as Jubilee House now?
Well, I don't know about officially, but we've certainly heard it referred to as Jubilee House by the incoming president. And he will be throwing a dinner for 150 people. That will include visiting heads of state at 8 p.m. tonight at the Flagstaff House. Yeah, as you can see, a lot of them already turning up, and I would certainly turn up early for a Ghanaian dinner if I was a foreign dignitary, wouldn't you, Hamabi?
Sure, I would. There's also another party.
Ghana Jollof,
is it
right?
at the Stadium or Independence Square?
Yes, a big concert later tonight, 10 p.m. Yes.
It looks to me as if they wanted everybody to be a part of one thing or the other.
Which is quite well thought of, if you consider it. There will also be a cocktail session at Flagstaff/Jubilee House later
I've heard
tonight.
it being referred to as the presidential something.
Presidential residence? Because it is going to be his residence, by the way.
But can we agree on something that is not Jubilee or Flagstaff?
It must have a name.
So we do presidential palace. Or
palace?
Presidential, okay, not palace, but presidential something.
What's wrong with either Flagstaff or Jubilee?
Okay, I mean, you are, at this point in time, you're Konte Hine, so what would you say?
Well, I have no opinion to express on this, but I can make a recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, this jigsaw, I mean, it was named Jubilee House because it coincided, the construction of it coincided with the Jubilee celebrations, and they also wanted to forget about that colonial past, you know, where the colonial guys were the owners of this country. And we didn't want to remind ourselves of that aspect of our history. So they wanted to say, no, we are in a Jubilee decade or year. Why didn't we change it and make it a Jubilee House? Because we had constructed a lot of Jubilee houses or stadia or meeting places. Call this a Jubilee House. They did. But the difficulty was when the new government that came wanted to change it. It was like, no, we are in power, we can change it. So they did change it. That was what surprised many of us. No, so with the new government coming, I get the impression that probably it's a payback situation. No, we constructed it. We named it Jubilee House without any serious discussions with us or concurrence or anything. You changed it. So we're taking the name back. We're going to call it Jubilee.
What happens when there's a change
when they
of
come again
governments?
or under government comes, they may want to also change it, you know. So,
but that's not healthy,
no, it's not. We're not going to have any referendum on this. I mean, let them sit down and arrive at consensus. But not much discussion went into this change or these changes. And that's what I disagree. They must meet. Now there's a bit of rapprochement, if you like. Now it looks like the two sides may meet and agree on a permanent name. It should not be a payback period. They must meet. The two sides must meet and accept a particular name.
Kojo, we can call it Jubilee Flagstaff House.
Well, one thing for sure, tonight, Jubilee or Flagstaff House, it will certainly be the venue for a lot of revelry and celebration following the inauguration of the new president and, of course, the official beginning of the new government. So, Jubilee, Flagstaff, whatever happens, there will be jollof.
Our special coverage of this inauguration is brought to us by Angel Educational Complex, also Magdan Shipping Company, your total logistics partner, and Ines Fly Beautiful Protection. Nana, I want us to talk about what would happen at the Independence Square, Black Star Square. What are the parliamentary procedures? We understand it's a parliamentary event, so Parliament is taking charge of what will happen at the Independence Square.
Well, it is a parliamentary event. It should have taken place within the precincts of Parliament, but because of limitations of space, we have had to build this consensus and habit of taking the whole exercise to the Independence Square reasonably and I mean, it has been accepted, and we have done it several times, so it can continue. Now, it is a parliament. You're going to observe all the privileges and immunities of parliament there, but whether they can achieve this is another matter, because you are teaming thousands of people around watching this small space of parliamentarians doing their own thing. But it has been done before with some level of success, so it can continue. It's parliament. All others are strangers. The thousands of people who are there are strangers. I hope they can maintain law and order. But you can't get as close to the area where the parliamentarians are. It is only the president-elect who will be allowed to come to swear his oath of allegiance and the oath of the president before the Chief Justice. That is an area that must not be touched by strangers. But I think it is good that we have adopted this style, because it is participatory, if you like, and a lot of people have liked it. The other one that we did, the case of His Excellency Mr. Kufuor, when he came, the first one was a problem, and when we did the other one for Mr. Rawlings also, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, there was also a lot of restrictions and problems. But that's how we opened our eyes and said to ourselves, let's move to this other place. But it is not going to be easier. And that's the reason also why members of parliament are being bussed from Parliament House, as it were, to the
Square?
Yeah, just to avoid the incidents of heavy traffic and unexpected traffic. And still, if the protocol people don't try or work hard, things may get out of hand. But because you're having to bus parliamentarians, that small distance has taken us 45 minutes before. From Parliament House to Blaster Square has taken us
Maybe
45
that's why
minutes.
the police has decided to block certain sections. They do the best they can, but they don't succeed. Because the pedestrians alone and some other persons who would want to, especially diplomats, who are late or who have been delayed and who are crisscrossing the area, the police try and they don't succeed in all cases. But I think they will be on time this time around, because a lot of foreign dignitaries are coming and we can't afford to be late. Being late is pastime in Ghana, but certainly today we must try not to do that.
What role will the outgone, that's not even a word, is it? Well, the immediate past president and his government play in today's ceremony?
Well, we have the state protocol working for them. And of course, the programs have been approved by both sides. And the tradition has been that they will be there as well. After all, they have representation in Parliament, and the Parliament is there. And the executive side and the political parties, all of them, NDC, MPP, CPP, all of them are going to converge there. So you can't single out what the ex-president, His Excellency John Mahama, is going to do or not do. So I expect that there will be cooperation, and they have worked out the strategies already, and they will all be there. I'll be surprised if Mr. Mahama will not be put in his right place. And I was surprised the cameramen don't go to focus on him. He plays a prominent role today, and he must be seen as such. Ex-president, like all the other ex-presidents. Yeah, President Lawrence, he's there, and he will be there. President Kufuor. So we are lucky we have all these big men around in Ghana. We only lost one, unfortunately. But they will remember him today, I hope. Yeah. So I think all of them are going to participate fully in this, especially if we want to still deserve the accolade of an emerging democracy in Africa. And we have to do what democracy demands of us. Yeah.
Now, no doubt, today's event has been anticipated by many, many Ghanaians. Several of them actually queued up from last night, hoping to get a good seat in the Independence Square that currently, as I'm learning, has a capacity for, sitting capacity for 25,000 people. But of course, there's going to be even more room created in the center of the square, in addition to the seating capacity. So it's going to be zoned. There are 3 zones. There's the outer perimeter, which is for the general public. There'll be the middle perimeter, which is supposed to be for the press, and then the inner perimeter for VIPs, VVIPs, and of course government members and family members of those who are playing the central roles in today's activity. So it's all nicely organized. In fact, let's talk a little bit about how these things are organized.
Yeah. But before that,
back into the studio, where of course our guest today, and we're very honored he's able to join us, is Nana Rex Owusu-Ansah. He's a former Clerk of Parliament. He's currently the Kruntihini of Wenchi, and he has a wealth of experience from not only Ghana's Parliament, but virtually every single Parliament in the Commonwealth, where he has spent some time in honing his craft. Now, Nana, today's event is a parliamentary event. So in terms of protocol, who is actually organizing it? Is it Parliament that is responsible for the organization?
Primarily, yes, but it is a joint venture, if you like, shared responsibility of the executive and the legislature. Now, as you know, we have parliamentary relations in Parliament that helps to do these things in conjunction with the state protocol people who help a lot in these areas. My boys, oh, I'm sorry, they're not my boys, the colleagues in Parliament and the ladies, they have been working for the past so many weeks, working together with the state protocol people. And they give the suggestions, and all of them jointly implement these suggestions. This is how it should be, and they all get it done the way it ought to be. So Parliament is responsible primarily for this occasion, but with the support, tacit support of the executive, especially the issue of money. I don't know where the money is coming from. It's coming from the public purse anyway.
Yeah, that's a very disturbing thought.
Yeah. But believe you me, the ladies and gentlemen in Parliament House have been having sleepless nights and days, and we hope that they will come out brilliant. We hope. It has not been easy for them. So it is an event that belongs to both the executive and the legislature. And don't forget, our Parliament has the executive and the legislature jointly operating together.
Yeah. Let's link up with Seth Kwame Boateng now, who is at the square. Good morning to you, Seth. Seth, what can you tell us right now? All right, so that's Seth Kwame Boateng. You can see on your screens now, getting ready to tell us what's been happening at the Independence Square. Seth Kwame Boateng, hopefully you can hear me clearly now. What's been happening?
I'm presently at the Independence Square, where the investiture is about to take place. As you can see behind me, long queues are forming. People from all corners of this country are here to witness the ceremony, and you can see the flags of this country, the red, gold, green, and the black star, all covering this place. People came here very early in the morning. I understand some even came here around 3 a.m. and some actually came yesterday to come and sleep around, so they will have a chance to enter this premises very first. And when we pan to the stands, we see that thousands of people are already here waiting for the ceremony itself to start. And security is on high alert. I can see scores of them doing a lot of rounds, and we shall soon speak to the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, that Superintendent Sifas Arthur. But before that, I've also seen a number of dignitaries arrive, the foreign media around, some rich cultural display also taking place. And we can see the party supporters are equally happy that their party is about taking over the realms of affairs today, the hems of affairs today. So they are all in their party colors. And I will soon have with me here the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, Mr. Cephas Arthur, and he will help us understand the high security here and how things will run today. So I have with me here the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Cephas Arthur. Well, welcome to Independence Square, or you rather welcome me.
Well, you are welcoming me. I just got here, so you are welcoming.
I can see scores of security men. What's the plan today?
Yeah, that is the trick. The trick is to populate the venue with police presence, I mean visible police presence, to deter criminals, to give assurance to distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are coming here to witness this auspicious occasion. So, and also to deter criminals, you understand it. So if you go around even the perimeters of this area, you see that everywhere along the roads and at vantage points, there are visible police, or there's visible police presence. And they're ensuring that they provide the requisite atmosphere for this very event, and to ensure that nothing untoward happens on this day.
And I can see still hundreds or thousands of people coming, buses with people coming over, and all of them want to enter the premises, the perimeter. How are you going to handle them, and how are you going to handle the crowd?
I think one thing must be made clear. Those who are watching us on your network and desirous of coming here but haven't got here yet, if you haven't got any card designating you to come and sit at any of the segments here, don't come. If you come here, you will only come and loiter around. I'm told there are going to be giant screen erected for people to also witness what is going on. But as far as this square is concerned, if you don't have the card, you are not going to be allowed to go and sit anywhere, because even the stands, the terraces around have been demarcated, and people who are going to occupy those places have been given the card. So you can go to the Accra Sports Stadium, where a giant screen is also going to be erected.
So Accra Sports Stadium, people can actually go there and witness what's going on from a screen.
Exactly. So people should not troop here with the intention. Actually, the organizers are desirous that people will come and witness it. But we must also regulate it such that we have a very dignified event, so that it is not mad. So everybody should bear with the organizers and ensure that if you don't have any card, you can't enter this square.
So in effect, what you're saying is that you must have a card before you are allowed entry.
Exactly. And there are various segments of this place. And each card or each color of card will determine where you can go and sit down. So if you don't have any card at all, then it means that you've not been selected to come and sit anywhere here on the square.
And for those who are driving here who are probably not aware, some roads have been blocked. You may want to take us through some of the roads that have been blocked.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Let me say that I have my paper here. And the roads that have been blocked are 28 February Road at SEPS headquarters traffic light and Salem Avenue traffic light. That has been blocked. Local Street at Osu Cemetery traffic light has been blocked. Starlet 91 Road from the Ministry's traffic light has been blocked. Castle Road from AU Circle has been blocked. Alternative arrangement has been made for travelers and commuters to feel free. So traffic from 28 February Road emanating from Laboni and Osu heading towards Central Business District will divert onto Salem Avenue at the traffic light link to link up with the Oxford Street. Then if you are traffic coming from Professor John Evans Atami's High Street towards Independence Square, you will have to divert onto the Liberia Road at the SEPS headquarters traffic light towards the National Theatre traffic light intersection. Then motorists from Local Street towards Castle Road should use Jumakun Street and Oxford Street. And the final one is traffic from AU Circle towards Osu Castle through Osu Cemetery
traffic lights shall be diverted onto the Abdul Diouf and King Hassan Road to link with Gamal Abdul Nasser Road in front of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. So these are just the few roads that have been blocked and the diversions made to ease traffic.
Okay, I'm very grateful. So we're going to come to you later for more on security arrangement as and when we have something to talk about. So you just had my interaction with the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Arthur. More and more people are still coming. You can see the long queues, chiefs, our traditional leaders, the foreign dignitaries, they are all present, and we can also see some children here. Let me try and see if I'll have the permission to speak to. How are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Augustine Blay II.
And what are you doing here today?
I don't really know.
You don't know what you're doing here today? How old are you?
8.
8 years. So who brought you here?
Mostly my family and friends.
Oh, they brought you here. All right, thank you. And what are you also doing here? What's your name and how old are you?
My name is Elizabeth Blay and I'm 12 years old. We're coming here to celebrate Nana Addo being president.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. And you?
My name is Isaac and I'm 11 years old and I'm here to celebrate Nana Addo's.
But do you know what is happening today?
Hmm?
Do you know what is happening today in Ghana?
We're celebrating?
You're celebrating. Thank you. So you can also see we have the military personnel coming to lead the program, also gradually entering the premises or the perimeter of the Independence Square. Let's try and see if we can get to speak to the former Ashanti Region Minister, who later became the Minister for Chieftaincy, Honorable S.K. Buafo. Rev, welcome to Joy News.
Thank you. Yes.
You've been waiting for this day for how many years?
8 years.
And how has it been?
Fantastic, and God has been on our side. It is God. If it had not been God, let people say. But I believe personally that it's not so much hard work, but God was within it. And that is why we are here today. And I believe that with His help, this government will succeed.
Expectations are rife, and you can infer this from the margin that the MPP got over 1.5 million votes. You understand, extra votes to win this election, telling it all that expectations are rife. How is the government going to be able to handle these expectations?
If it was a false promises, then you'll be worried about the expectation. But we know, we sat down, calculated, and knew that this is what will happen. But I want to assure people that he himself, the president-elect or president now, has already stated that every promise he made is going to fulfill. And people should wait for him to fulfill it.
How many of your constituents are coming here? Any idea?
I saw some walking, and from Ashanti is fantastic, fantastic. You know, it's the seat of the MPP, and people are coming in their numbers.
So are you going back to Ashanti region to head there, or you'll be going to Chieftaincy Ministry?
Oh, I don't know. That one with the president.
Well, what has he told you?
Nothing. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So you had the Honorable former Minister for Chieftaincy, Samson Kwaku Buafo. He was also once the Ashanti region Minister. He's here to also be part of this ceremony. We will speak to more and more people. But when we look at the stance, you can tell it all what is happening. They are so excited. And as you heard the former minister say, people have come from all over this country. From Ashanti region, his men or his people are here in their numbers. And the long queues are still forming. We'll get more people for us to speak to and to find out exactly what. I know they are here to witness the ceremony, but they could have watched from home, but they decided to be here. So we'll soon cross to other areas and witness what's happening. So Mamavi, if you are listening to me, you can take over from me as we cross to the other side.
Unless you have like a protocol sticker.
That's it. Obviously, a lot of activity there at the Independence Square as we gear up for today's big event. Lots of people turning up. And Seth, interacting there with a few young buggers in the queue who are clearly getting into the spirit of today's event. Now, there's so much more to come. We'll keep bringing you live images from the Independence Square, where the next president of the Republic of Ghana is about to be sworn in. The plan was that everyone ought to be seated by 8:30. You can see there are queues forming as people scramble to get in on time and find comfortable seating so that they can be present for all the activity as it unfolds. Sir Kwame Boateng continues to interact with the arriving dignitaries, and we will go back to him as soon as we can. But we're learning more and more about today's event, its organization, and who plays what role. And we're able to go back now to Seth Kwame Boateng, who continues to interact with some of the arriving guests. Let's join him.
What actually made you come all the way from Bunkrugu to Accra, the Independence Square, to be part of this ceremony?
Yeah, my MP and then the people of the MPP people, they invited me that I should come. So they give me invitation that I should come. So me too, I've tried my best to make it so for them.
And how was the atmosphere in Bunkrugu, my own town?
Oh, your own town is now very, very good. There is nothing wrong. Everything is moving on well. Yeah.
And in terms of peace, what assurance would you give to this current government about your quest or your determination to ensure that the peace in Bunkrugu now is maintained and even enhanced?
Oh, I am assuring the current government that what happened in Bunkrugu last, I think it has gone and passed. It will never come again since we are one people and then we come together and drive Satan away. I think Satan cannot come back in Bunkrugu again.
And what is your wish for this government?
This government, I wish him good luck and good administration and prosperity and long life. Inshallah.
Thank you. So you heard the chief for Bunkrugu. He's here with his entourage. They have come all the way from Bunkrugu, and he told me that they arrived 2 days ago to be part of this ceremony. And more of them are coming here. I also cross over to speak to the former boss of Shraj, Mr. Milshot. Mr. Milshot is also present, and welcome to join you, sir.
Thank you.
What are your expectations today?
Well, I mean, this is a very historic event, the dawn of a new era. We have a leader who has impeccable credentials, and we're all looking forward to better days ahead.
And you have been one person who have been speaking about corruption, the need for this country to do away with corruption. What would you tell this government?
Well, I think the president-elect has indicated that that is one of its main objectives, to stamp out corruption. And I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to take the necessary steps to tackle corruption in an aggressive manner.
Which areas must he focus first?
Well, I mean, corruption is a very broad area, so he has indicated that he's going to appoint an independent prosecutor who would not be appointed by the executive, so that economic crimes can be prosecuted, you know, without any fear or favor. But we have an anti-corruption plan, and which encompasses a number of activities: public education, prevention strategies, and effective investigation and prosecution. So there are broad areas which the president will have to focus on. I think he'll have to have a team that will guide him as to how to implement the National Anti-Corruption Plan.
And with the independent prosecutor, do you have any name you would want to suggest or propose?
Oh no, that's not for me to say.
Thank you. So you heard my interview with the former Commissioner of Shraj, Mr. Emil Schott. He's one of the thousands of people who are here today to witness this ceremony. And as I reported earlier, more and more people are coming. The queues are forming, long queues, winding queues, in every part of this the Independence Square. And the chiefs have started arriving. We will soon go to where the dignitaries are seated and speak to some of them who are here to be part of today's ceremony. And we are told the program itself will start at 10, where the president-elect and his vice will be here, and the Chief Justice. Parliament will also sit here formally for activities for today to start. Then the Chief Justice will take over and take the president and the vice president-elect through the swearing-in process. Afterwards, there will be speeches, and we don't know exactly what we're going to hear from those who will be speaking, but certainly about unity and how the country can move forward. So we are going to the other side of the Independence Square and speak to people who are already seated, who are going to witness this occasion.
Seth, and Seth, if you can still hear me, can you? And if you can, Seth, talk us through the dress code, because we've seen people wear very interesting things. What's common, Seth?
Fred.
Okay, Seth can't seem to hear us, but he's at the Independence Square. We'll bring you more of that. You're still watching on television. On Joy News, our coverage of the inauguration is 8 minutes after 8. We're also live on Joy 99.7 FM, and the inauguration ceremony broadcast is brought to you by Angel Educational Complex, Madan Shipping Company, your total logistics partner, Ines Fly, beautiful protection. My name is Mama Vioso. Mama V Owusu Abuaje, and I'm here with Kojak. I almost said Mama V Owusu Young Saint, but Nana Rex Owusu answers former Clerk of Parliament and
as people start lobbying for positions in government, others are lobbying for positions in my house. All right, now of course we're all getting geared up for today's historic event, and we want to know what you are thinking as well. So don't forget to interact with us on social media. Of course, we are your election headquarters, so use that hashtag on Twitter and send through your thoughts and views and your opinions as we're getting into the spirit of things right here on your superstation. This is, of course, Joy News' election headquarters coverage of today's very important inauguration ceremony. Now, our guest today, of course, I'm very happy he's able to join us, is Nana Rex Owusu Ansah. He's a former Clerk of Parliament, and he has already been through this process at least twice during his career, in '96 and again in 2000, perhaps a bit more prominently in 2000 as government changed. Now, of course, we're learning about what happens behind the scenes to make these things come together. And we were before we went across to speak to Seth, you were telling us about how this is organized as a joint effort between the executive and Parliament. Now, today at the event, of course, it will be controlled by Parliament. So the Speaker will be the sort of main presiding official, is that right?
Yes, under his auspices, under his jurisdiction. But the protocol people are there to really enforce law and order. But the Speaker would maintain law and order, order only in the precincts, the area of the parliamentarians. Yeah. The Speaker cannot control the crowd. He cannot attempt to do that. He'll be too busy to do that anyway. There are people, like the policeman was saying, who do that job.
Now, it's a massive operation. 5,000 police officers have been deployed to the premises today. 5,000. That's a lot of overtime. And of course, the idea is to ensure that we have an orderly event. Already we can see it's shaping up quite nicely. People are queuing quietly. Now, the roads that have been blocked, we remarked while Superintendent Arthur was sharing the names of the roads that have been blocked, that it's very difficult to identify the roads in Accra by their names. We're still not there yet. But I'm wondering whether this is going to cause some serious traffic obstruction in the capital city, Mama V.
It certainly will. We'll get our colleagues to check that out for us, but it certainly will. And I would say that if you have no business being in Accra, just stay right there, watch us on television or listen to us on radio on Joy FM. And enjoy it because we're bringing you all the angles to this inauguration. Forget about the hassle. Get something comfortable by you. Chew on something and watch us.
Indeed. Whatever questions you have about how things are happening today, the answers are right here. Whatever it is you want to know, who's in charge. We've already figured out the fact that we're running presidentless for a few hours at least.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to know, who is in charge, how many people are attending today, where can you park your car and walk to the venue, what is Sarmira Baumia going to wear, whatever your questions might be, the answers will be found right here. So stay with us for the duration. Now our guest of course is Nana Rex Owusu Ansah. Later we'll be bringing other guests in to help us understand the significance of things that are happening today. But let's talk a little bit about transition, shall we?
Before you do that, our colleague Kojo Menu is telling us that pictures at the airport, you know, changed. It's a new day, new president. So you would not find images of President Mahama or Mr. John Dramani Mahama. What you would find is Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Already?
Yes, already. As President of the Republic of Ghana.
Indeed.
Even at the Kotoka International Airport.
Interesting. Well, that photograph must have been commissioned at some point during the last 25 days or so. And it's already adorning the walls in our airport, which makes sense. I mean, that's the first impression that we're making on our visiting dignitaries. It would be a little bit awkward if they turned up and saw the former president's photograph. So I guess that's in order. That's some efficiency there for you, right?
Yeah.
So shall we talk a little bit about transition and the role that Parliament plays in this? So far, we've heard about goings on between the two transition teams, or well, it's one transition team, but you know, made up of the two parties, the one handing over and the one coming in. But what role does Parliament play in this? And I ask this because in the deliberations for the Right to Information bill, one of the objections that was raised by the then minority leader, Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, was that he felt that what was happening ought to be reflected somehow in the transition process, that the transition team ought to be informed in some way of the activity around the Right to Information bill. Now, in terms of procedure, would this be right? Would the executive have to have some oversight over some of the deliberations of Parliament during the transition period?
Yes and no. It depends upon the interpretation you give to the clauses in the transition bill and the sections, if you like. There are some legal brains who are saying the law on transition should have been complied with.
And Nana, apologies, but we'll continue with that. We just want to remind you that it's our special inauguration on your screens if you're watching television. The Togolese president has just arrived. There's a parade in his honor. And Kojo Menu is joining us live. Kojo would give us some details. Kojo.
Yes, Mama V, so as you're seeing in your shot is the president of Togo. He touched down just about some 3 minutes ago. It happened yesterday, and like I told you earlier, the guard of honor mounted after being briefed by the commander here, Flight Lieutenant Samuel Linkum, 93 men from the Ghana Air Force. Now he will seek permission to proceed. Let me say like that just at the right-hand side of the Togolese president is former Minister Kwame Batels with Ambassador Bandodu, who was here yesterday as well. What they're going to do is to receive him, exchange pleasantries. On their way to the Jubilee Lounge, they'll stop by the Ghana Dance Ensemble where they have positioned themselves, observe the display very briefly, and then they will proceed inside the lounge and officially welcome. Let me say though that former foreign minister is also here. Hackman Oswajiman, he was here yesterday, and Minister Designate also, who was here yesterday for national security, is here. Let's take the national anthem of Togo.
So, those were images from Kotoka International Airport, where President Faure Gnassingbé has arrived from Togo. Of course, President Faure is a rather controversial figure. His history as president of Togo quite remarkable. He was installed as president in 2005, right after his father died. This happened with the support of the military, of course. In 2010, he won the election under, again, controversial circumstances, and was reinstalled for a third term in 2015. He arrives in Accra this morning to bear witness to the swearing in of the new president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. As the foreign dignitaries continue to arrive, we will bring you full updates. And of course, today's event is being witnessed by the entire world, and well, at least 25,000 of them will be seated inside the Independence Square for the main proceedings. Now, our guest this morning is, of course, Nana Rex Owusu Ansa, former Clerk of Parliament and Kruntihini of Winchi. He's been an employee of Parliament since 1980, and since 1997 until 2001 was indeed the Clerk of Parliament. He was also involved in the drafting of our Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, and we're very honored to have his wealth of experience this morning. Now, Nana, of course, today's event is bringing into sharp focus all of the proceedings of Parliament which Ghanaians may not have previously known about. And you were in the middle of explaining to us the relationship between what happens in Parliament and what happens in the transition team during this time.
Well, I was observing the activities from a distance. And it depends on the interpretation individuals give to the provisions in the Transition Act, if you like. There is a provision in the transition law which says that the government should have handed over everything, or should have captured all the activities, if you like, or should have mentioned all the activities and everything that there is to be included in the handing over notes. Should have handed all these things to the gentleman who is the man in charge of the Secretariat of the Transition.
The Administrator General?
Administrator General, thank you for that. It looks like this was not done. The documents got to him after the elections, we were told. If this is true, then it means that the Transition Act, the law, has not been complied with fully. And that would give rise to these difficulties, if you like. For instance, if they had captured all these activities of government or the executive and had stopped somewhere, then there would have been questions as to why this is not in this or that is not in that, as we have now seen people arguing. Technically, what that means is that government should not have stopped work completely. The work of government should continue, but wherever they had gotten to, they should have captured those activities and put them in the documents of the transition of the transition documents, actually, and should have given them to the administrator. If that had happened, then most of the things that we're talking about right now would not have happened. Now, talking about Parliament and the bills that are still pending, of course, the executive is enjoined, since they are the ones who provide all the bills, who submit all the bills for passage. They're the ones who should have mentioned what bills are currently pending before Parliament. What is it that Parliament has accomplished? What is it that they themselves have accomplished? If they haven't done that, then there will be these questions that will be raised, and therefore you expect these disagreements at the level of the transition team. So in future, if you are to comply fully with the Transition Act, handing over should be completed 30 days before the event of the elections results are ahead, prepared, you know. And this has not happened. That's the reason why there is this difficulty. But Parliament has very little to do. Sitting in Parliament and debating the transition bill, the questions that come up are, we cannot pass this bill because this bill has not been captured in the documents of the government about the transition and all that. To some extent, they are justified, but to some others, the government can also say whatever goes on in Parliament is not our business. If you are minded to go further to investigate this claim, you know, whenever people are preparing for elections, the government of the day is preparing for winning power as well as continuing with its administration because they want to win. So they do a lot of things that will go beyond elections, whereas the opposition would be concentrating only on winning the elections and nothing else because they have nothing to prepare or order or buy or put in place. So after elections, if the expectations change, then we have a problem. Then the opposition is caught and the government side is also caught. I'm sure the government was disappointed heavily when they didn't win. All the things that they had anticipated they would do, now they cannot do them. If they ordered a lot of things from abroad, these things may have arrived by now, but they are not the ones to clear these things, and that can raise difficulties and all that. And the right to information bill, for instance, come into focus. It's not dead completely, even though this parliament, the last parliament, died with it. But a new parliament can resurrect it. And that means they have to start it all over again. You know, first reading, second reading, third reading, consideration stage, and all that kind of process. But why not? It can be done. Now, there's a big file on the Freedom to Information Bill. It captured thousands of amendments. And that has helped the new parliament. And that can make the new parliament really work faster. But you see, people are disappointed that they were not able to do it. It is not
this particular objection that was raised by the minority leader at the time, this particular objection in the case of the Right to Information Bill, that it needs to be captured, or they needed some sort of confirmation from the transition team that they can go ahead and debate it. Was that not a rather selective application of this rule? Why did he not raise that same complaint when they were discussing emoluments or you know, when they were talking about loans and all of that? Why was it only applicable to the Right to Information Bill?
Well, I have difficulty in answering that, but I know politicians would do it the way they want. You know, if it nears their benefit, why not? They'll raise it, particularly if they think they're right. So you and I have to decide whether or not they're right, and whether or not they're right in also discussing the emoluments and all that. I mean, politicians, as you know them, will pick and choose whatever is beneficial to them. Human beings generally. But both of them may be wrong. Now, why should we sit up in judgment? We have to tell who is wrong or who is right. As far as I'm concerned, the public is disappointed, but the minority do the right thing. If they did the right thing, why not? We can resurrect this bill. If they were wrong, let's condemn them. But let's go to the law itself. Should the government have included the provisions in its handing over notes, mention of the right to information bill? Should the government also include the issue of emoluments? So we should take precedence over the other. I don't know. But certainly politicians, if they didn't raise the issue, well, you and I can raise it in quiet corners.
Sure.
But now we are talking about whether or not they were justified. You cannot do, you cannot say they picked and chose. You cannot. But you were they right in suggesting or raising that objection or raising that issue? If they were right, then so be it. The right to information bill will have to be resurrected into the next parliament.
None of their various committees in parliament. Did they die with the 6th parliament? And how do we bring them back in the 7th parliament?
Well, it depends. I mean, if they were government bills, and most of them were, all of them, to be precise, if they want to have them resurrected, they will have to pass them again, bring them, present them, table them in parliament, for them to go through all the processes.
Okay. It's good you've said this, but I was actually referring to the committees, subsidiary legislative committee, the constitutional, parliamentary committee, those subcommittees in parliament, and those who formed the committee. Did they die with the parliament that just died?
Yes, they died. I mean, they have to be recomposed. They're going to do that in the next few days. We expect the new chairman of the committees to be appointed because these are the issues that have got to attract the attention of the parliament immediately. I'll be surprised if they haven't even completed who will be the chairman for this committee or the committee, or who will be the members thereof.
So how do you get onto a committee?
Yeah, they have the CVs of all members of parliament. They give you the choice to the opportunity to make a choice of what committee you would want to serve on, and you will indicate your preferences, at least 3 or 4 preferences, and the leadership or the group that is doing that will meet and select the best brains for the committees that they would want to push people into. This must be done as early as possible. Now, because they cannot, one committee may have lost all the members that could have been very vocal in its activities, and the new ones will have to come, but they have no excuse whatsoever to say we are new, we don't understand this, because every bill comes with a memorandum that will explain whatever it is that is contained in the bill itself. So it's not new, and the clerks are there to help. Not only that, the people who prepare the bills would also come in on invitation by Parliament to explain. But if there's no need for those bills to be represented, well, they die, natural deaths. In any case, the new Parliament is now obliged to reintroduce bills that have died. If they don't want to, the bills die, natural deaths, if you like.
Now, of course, every country is unique. Ghana is no exception. There are certain symbols and significant parts of our processes of investiture that come with unique meanings.